Okay, let's just go into a tactic straight away. I'm not going to do too much explaining because I've already explained this probably so many times now, but maybe I'll give you just some different thoughts and maybe what you can replace these with. I've already explained yesterday how you should set your tactics up. So we're going to follow on from that. So as I mentioned yesterday, this is my all-out attack formation. We're going backwards this time. This is if I'm losing and I need to go and get the ball back. I'm normally using a high with team press, but I think a lot of you may prefer aggressive. I just personally like the team press because I have that bit of manual control. I can trigger when I want those players to press, but I think aggressive is probably the one to go with. Don't forget, this is not a formation that I'm using for a prolonged period of time. Let's say I'm losing 2-3-0 or 2-0, and let's say 70 minutes. I really got to shop and press the ball, and let's say my opponent is wasting time. Then this is what I would typically switch to. And if you want to play two advanced forwards, you can. Pretty much self-explanatory. Two inside forwards as we normally done the entire year. 4-2-4 being the most important thing here. Both these players box to box will be helping inside the box, and then the fullbacks unbalanced. So this would be my ultra pressing tactic. One, if I'm losing the game, this is probably the best pressing tactic inside the game, period. And that's why you might use this or some variation of 4-4-2. One thing I've done is for my second attacking or a bit let's say one step down. That's the most attacking. This is one step down. We've gone with a 4-4-2, a bit more balance with a left mid and right mid. One of the key benefits of the 4-2-4, just going back to it, is you could also put inside forward roaming, which you can't do on a 4-4-2. Now, this makes this player stay forward, but if you know how to press manually, sometimes I do change that myself, and I can always ask a fullback to go and join the attack. It's very attacking. I don't want to release that tactic like that because people are just going to say it doesn't work, but you have to really know how to defend. I would say like rank 2 and above can maybe experiment with that. Maybe rank 3 if you know what you're doing. But the pressing tactic is the exact same. The difference is we've gone with the 70 depth. I think overall, as I mentioned, it's probably the best all around depth. If you're asking me personally speaking, it's definitely the best all around. It's basically identical. The only difference here is you have one of the players on holding and one of the players on playmaker. So as opposed to two box to boxes that are going to be going forward at the same time and going backwards, you kind of left no one in midfield, but with someone holding, you have someone sitting back, and then you have like a playmaker kind of making that makeshift cam with two strikers along the front. So this is what I would say is a lot of people may prefer to use another formation here. So you could use a 4-4-1-1. I don't really think there's a need of a 4-4-1-1 for me personally speaking, because I have a 4-2-1-3, and I'll explain that in a second why also I don't have a 4-4-1-1, because I got a better formation in my opinion than that. But again, you can use a 4-4-1-1 here. You could even use like a 4-3-3 attacking. So this would be your not ultra attacking, but maybe I want to press the ball. Maybe I'm losing 1-0 or 2-0 and the game's kind of going away from me, and I want to apply pressure with two strikers along the front. And then we go over to this, my shock and awe tactic. I've already explained this. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best formations inside the game, if not top 3 for me. Maybe even arguably in some situations can be the best if you know what you're doing. It's the one that basically has that cam and the two strikers. So it's if you can kind of think of it like a 4-1-2-1-2 without the extra one, but one the center mid is like a wide half winger. People like to look at it that way. The way that I like to look at it is just imagine it's a 3-5-2 without the right mid. You know, if you want to, you can go ahead and do this, but again, this is not the time to experiment. I'm just showing you what I'm using. You could do something like this and you make it a 3-5-2. But what I do basically is I do something like this. And you can use wingback if you want to, do them on fullback if you want, or fullback defend is up to you. But what I normally do is something like this, and I normally attack down one side. That is the most important thing. When you're using this formation, you have to think very carefully. So what I'd recommend is attacking down one side. So let's say you attack down the left-hand side the most time, that's the way you play it. So when you're using this formation, what's more important than anything is you need to make sure you're attacking down one side. It's so important. If you don't attack down one side, that's when you'll struggle. You ideally want someone to have a half wing or plus like that. But the most important thing is you attack down one side. So if you are going to use this, do not attack down the right-hand side. But as I said, I like to look at this as basically kind of like a 4-4-1-1, because I have basically the back four, and then I got the two center mids or two CDMs. You can argue a bit better defensively, more stable. Then you got the cam, and then you got the striker in a 4-4-1-1 with the left mid with a half ring and extra striker. So I like to think of this like a 4-4-1-1, a bit more stable defensively, but a bit more of an attacking presence. This, I'll be honest, I'm using a lot more now. I'm actually converting this more into my main formation. It actually goes hand in hand with being a fun formation and being one of the best formations inside the game. If you ask me personally speaking, I really like it. I'm thinking I'm using this a lot more now. Depends on your skill level, but you could use, for example, here an attacking 4-2-1-3. You could use a 4-4-1-1, maybe even a 4-4-2. So this would be more of my semi-attacking. I still got two CDMs. I'm not going with two center mids. So still two CDMs, two strikers. So you can see how progressive, very attacking, ultra pressing, CDMs basically. And then we have the equilibrium, the balance formation. Now, typically speaking, at this stage of the game, I'm using a high depth. You may need to use 50. This is just for my skill level. I'm very comfortable with applying pressure mainly myself and defending. I'm kind of steering away from the 4-2-1-3 a lot of the time. I'm just finding it just a bit boring, to be honest. I know this is a try-hard weekend league. I still got the 4-2-1-3 in this setup, which I'll show you in a second. But I much prefer playing two CDMs, whether that's a 4-4-2 flat, a 4-4-2 second variation, a 4-2-4, a 4-2-2, a 4-4-1-1. Anything with two banks of four is kind of what I'm leaning towards. And I really like the 4-2-2. Bonus tips is if you use something like wing backs with this formation, if you don't trigger those players manually. But this is more my balance formation. So I leave the four backs on four back balance. You leave them on four back defend if you want to. And this is just basically a regular 4-4-2, 4-2-2. There's nothing special like this one, where this one has the half winger and a shadow striker, as I explained before. This one's just a clean slate. So normally I would go into the game and use this formation. Maybe if I feel my opponent's a bit weak on a counter attack and I need, maybe he or she's got two strikers, I need two strikers, or maybe they got two CDMs, then this is when I feel this kind of formation comes to light here. You could also use here a 4-2-1-3, even a 4-3-3 if you really like that, or 4-4-2 second variation in this balance. So this is the one that I normally start the game with, if you ask me personally speaking. And then I still have the 4-2-1-3. Look, arguably you could use an ultra defensive tactic here. You could even I'll just give you a quick example. Like, for example, like this one, you may prefer to use the 5-3-2 here. It's actually a very good formation as well. As I said, use what works for you. This is not the week to experiment. If you've gone and copied my codes and you never used them before, this is not the time to experiment. As I explained yesterday, use what you know. Use what you're comfortable with. Don't change anything, okay? It's like driving a car for the first time. Imagine you'd be training with one car your entire time. You go into a race and you're changing to cars. You don't want that. Go with what you're familiar with. Now, the 4-2-1-3, why do I leave it in my ultra defensive slot? There's going to come down to more than skill level. If I was like a rank 4-5 player, maybe I would think twice. Maybe I would possibly get rid of this formation, or maybe even this one. And maybe I'll move this one up. And maybe I'll have a 4-2-1-3 here as a balance formation. And then maybe a 4-3-3 second variation. I'll just show you on this one. So if something like this, 4-4-3-3 second variation, and you got the center mid, and I can put the center mid, for example, on a holding. And this would be technically a more defensive formation than a 4-2-1-3. So this would be technically, for a lot of you, an all-out defensive tactic. So if you are, let's say you're watching this, but you really need something to defend the game, you haven't got anything set up yet, you could use something like this. You know, you got the center mid on holding, they sit back. So technically you still have that a counter attack presence. You could even go ahead and even put these players on wingers. They help a bit more defensively actually, and help you on the attacking support. But you can see here, that is one of the key benefits. It's a bit more defensive. But as I said, look, I don't need to use that, because me personally speaking, I feel that I'm good enough inside the game that I don't need to go to a defensive state, and I can stay on a 4-2-1-3. So the way I use this 4-2-1-3 is the same way that I would use, for example, my equilibrium formation. I'm still using a high depth. It's only because let's say if this was my 4-2-1-3 balance, I might use high depth, but because this is my defensive formation, I'm using a balance of 50, maybe even 45. As I said, I'm not going with a shadow striker on the cam. I'm going with playmakers. So again, being a bit conservative, maybe for me, conservative anyway. So I'm not going too gung ho in the attacking. And I've already got two CDMs on deep line playmaker, both of them sitting back. So I've got the counter attack threat and then the defending threat. So I don't mind. Let's say I'm winning 2-1 or 3-1. Let's say, for example, my opponent's changed formation. Let's say, for example, I was winning on this formation 4-4-2. I normally don't change if things are going well, but let's say my opponent decided to go to like a 4-4-2 and I feel like I'm struggling, I need CDMs or something, then I may skip to this formation. And because I have two CDMs, I am more, and this is for me, I am more than comfortable with defending with a back four and one CDM. With two CDMs and a back four, unless I make a mistake, then that's my fault. I deserve to concede. I'm very comfortable defending with a back four with players like Kunde's got 99 sprint speed. Van Dijk's got quick step, aerial, jockey. Like these guys are top tier evolutions. All this, in fact, this entire team's evolutions. So I'm more than happy to defend with these players. So as I said, you could also use a 4-3-3, even use a 5-3-2 here. But as I said, I'm not really going to the ultra defensive tactics too much. And if I am, I want to go to a 4-2-1-3-1 that I can still defend, but also still attack. If I really need to, I may, let's say I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm against a top tier player. I'm really getting pressured here. What I might do is I might go to 31 like this. This is me pausing the game. I might pause the game. I might turn this to balanced just to maintain a bit more possession. And what I might do here is I might put one of these players on a winger and I put my striker, for example, on a false nine build up. And I may put, for example, this player on a build up as well. So let's say I'm inside the game. There's a top tier player. Let's say they're a fellow high end SR elite player or like a rank 2, 1, even a rank 3 player. Sometimes you can have those unlucky games. You know how it is sometimes with gameplay. And I really feel like I'm getting challenged. To be extra safe, I may just pause the game. Let's say I'm winning 3-1, 2-1, and I'll go with something like this, putting them both on playmaker, just a bit easier. Put one of the players on a winger. So I got an outlet strategy to pass the ball, like a 2 precision lob pass to, and also they'll help a bit more defensively as well. Something you can bear in mind. You can even consider here using a 4-2-1-3 second variation. I'll just quickly run you through that as well. So let's say you like the 4-2-1-3, and let's say you think, you know what, I really like this formation. To take it a step backwards, you could use the sister formation, which is almost identical, which is the 4-2-3-1 wide. Not the cams. This one's a bit more attacking. This one's a bit more defensive. So you can see between this formation over here, I'm going to go back here just to the 4-2-1-3. You can see you got a left wing and a right wing. And if we quickly go back here to the 4-2-1-3 wide, it's the exact same formation. The only difference is that you have wingers that are left mids and right mids, and they typically are the best defensively. You can even technically use something like a wide playmaker, or what's kind of a bit more common now, use something like a wide midfielder defend. So let's say you really wanted to go, and let's say you're really a big fan of the 4-2-1-3, but maybe you wanted to make this extra defensive. You could consider something like this. You could even do poacher. What I kind of like is a poacher support role. I like that as well. But you could do something like this, deep line playmaker if you want to. And then here you can see you basically got a 4-4-1-1 here with CDMs. So you see, this is basically a 4-4-1-1 with CDMs, or 4-4-1-1 with the left mid and right mid even coming back a bit further. Or you can look at it as a 4-2-1-3, but with a cam on build up play and left mid and right mids, as opposed to left mids as opposed to left wings and right wings. So you lose a bit of that attacking presence, but you're a bit more safer defensively. Anyway, guys, look, I hope you enjoy it. This might be one of the last ultra meta tactics that I do. So everything you're seeing here, so imagine going back again to this would be, let's just cancel this for a second. Let's just go back. It's this is my full Evo squad. I love it, man. Honestly, Evos are the best thing in the game. But yeah, 4-2-1-3, ultra defensive, my defensive tactic, my balance tactic, my attacking alternate tactic, slightly a bit more pressing, would be the press tactic, and then have, for example, like these two. So I explained, like I made this a 4-4-2, and that's basically it. But like maybe I'll make a video on my team. I mean, all these players are Evos. Like literally every single player apart from Turkey. Like this is a nice one. I just finished him just now. I'm really looking forward to using him this weekend league. I've not played him yet. That's just all cards. But look at this. All 9 agility and balance, and then he's got tiki taka, quick step. I think if I could choose play styles, I'd probably put tiki taka. I'll probably put tiki taka and then slice it past on everyone. But yeah, look, this is a team full of Evos. Part of these players here, but look, I got some top tier cards. He's absolutely a goat. This Kunde is a goat as well. So like I'm more than happy with this team. I actually enjoy playing this account more than my main account, surprisingly enough. But look, hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And plus I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out. And don't forget, if you want to get better FC, come to my Patreon series. Division 10 Elite Division series is still there. We still got tactics videos, analysis videos, go over all the pro games analysis, and of course got meta mechanic abusing section as well. Links down below in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, you can join today, use it for 1 week, improve your wins. If you don't get better after 1 month, the refund months no guys guarantee. Links down in the description. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace.